Welcome back. In this lecture, what we're going to be talking about is the ledger. Now, why we want to talk about the ledger? Because it actually has an extremely big part in explaining the blockchain, because the blockchain is actually just a huge or a series of ledgers. What a ledger is basically just like a book or a file that contains a list of transactions, right? Now, some companies used to have big book ledgers where they would input every entry and every exit and then have a balance in the end. For us to understand how that works or relates to cryptocurrencies and the blockchain, though, let's create our own ledger, and that'll make way more sense, right? So let's imagine this. Let's imagine we're 4 friends and we have a bit of money. Now, instead of every time giving each other money when we do a transaction, let's say we decide it would be easier to just put our money in a pot and have a ledger that says how much money each person owes or owns, right? So if I give money to somebody, I can just write it in the ledger, I owe them. And then we actually don't have to give and take from each other actual physical money. It could just be noted in the ledger, right? So let's say today is day 0, okay? And we create this ledger here. And in this ledger, what we have is we have names, people, okay? And this could be me. And let's say my friend Cam, Queenie, and Omid, right? Opalai. And Omid. And let's say I have $100 because I'm rich. Cam has $20. Queenie has 50 and Omid has 0. Okay. So, the next day comes along and we go out, we have, we do something, and I buy something off of, I don't know, Cam. Okay. So this would be the ledger on day 1. So this was day 0, this is day 1. So let's say the ledger got full, there was no more space on this one, so I want to start writing in this one. So on day 1, I buy something from Cam. So what I want to do is I want to go, okay, well, I want to send Cam, I don't know, $20. So I would go like Mo sends, let me take this off, Mo sends Cam $20. So now Cam has 20 plus 20 has $40. And then simultaneously, I want to send something to Omid as well. And I send to Omid $10. Right? I put it in, I don't actually take the physical money and give it to him. I just put it in the ledger. And then this ledger, we can all see it. We all have access to it. It's public, right? It's a public ledger. Okay. This is public. So everybody can see it. And everybody can read from it. So see what information it says, and everybody can write to it. So input any transaction to it, right? Then let's say at the same time, Queenie sends me $5, right? And that's it. Okay, well, let's give another transaction. Let's say Cam also sends Queenie, let's say $10. Okay, and here, who is Queenie giving? They're giving it to. Forgot who Queenie is sending the money to. So this $5 will say Queenie is sending it to, let's say, me, right? $5. So now, in the end, if at the end of the day we want to sit down together and see how much money every person owes to each other, well, very simple. All I would have to do is say, well, look, Mo had 100, but he gave away 30, but he received 5. So now he has $75. Cam, he had 20, he got 20, so now he has 40, but he gave away 10. So now Cam has $30, right? What about Queenie? She got 50, she gave away 5. So now Queenie has $45. Okay, Omid, well, he had nothing, but now he has 10. How much is all of this money? Let me see. 75 plus 30, that gives me 105 plus 45, 150. Total, $160. Well, how much money did we start with? Let's see, 75, 100, and 5, 150, 160. Did I miscalculate something here? Mo gave 20 to Cam, and I received, I gave 30 away, so I'm at 70, but I got 5, so I have 75. Yeah, Queenie gave 5 to Mo, so she's at 45. Yeah, Cam gave 10 to Queenie, so then Cam went from 20, 40 to 30. Yeah. And Queenie has, since she has 55 now. Yeah, she should have 55. Because Queenie actually, she had 50, she gave away 5, but she got 10. So I forgot to input this one, right? So she has 55. Let's put it in, 55. And, I'm not going to edit this mistake out of this video because that's actually, it's important to know how these mistakes can happen and how the blockchain makes it that these mistakes can't happen, right? A computational mistake or something like that. So 75 plus 30, 105, then plus 55, 160, 170. So we have 170 here. That's the amount in the pot, the total amount. And you know what? If I look at the beginning, we had 100, 20, 50, $170. So same amounts of money, it's just redistributed differently, right? And then the next day, well, if we still want to transfer money to each other, then there's a ledger again, because let's say this one is full and I can't input any more data, there's no space. And then on day 2, we create another ledger and then we do our transactions. And this way seems pretty smart. Why do I actually need to transfer money or give physical money from one person to the other? We can just note it, right? And if I know I have this amount of money, well, if the next day I want to give somebody $100, I can't because I only have 75. I can't send 100, right? And this is how the bank works, right? When you have money in the bank, they have accounts where they say how much money every person has. Now, the problem is I don't trust the bank. But do I actually trust people? Not even. I don't trust anybody. So why would I trust this system? Because this system seems flawed, right? Because again, if this ledger is a public ledger and anybody can input, transactions to it, then what happens if, one day I'm not here or I'm away or something, and then Omid comes and says, you know what? I'm gonna go in the ledger and I'll say that Mo sent me his $75. So Omid goes in because again, it's a public ledger and anybody can do input any data on it. So Omid comes in and writes Mo sends Omid 75. So then I lose my money and he has it, right? It makes no sense. There has to be more security here, right? Because I don't trust people and I don't want to trust anybody. That's the objective, is to remove trust completely, because we want to trust the system so much that we don't need to trust anybody. We remove trust out of the equation. So that's an issue, right? That anybody can do anything on it. And then what about, making mistakes and stuff like that? Who oversees this? Because it's decentralized, so we don't want anybody to be in charge of that. But we want the system to be working, right? And this is where we're going to look at other things like mining and how the whole system works, right? So we see that there's flaws. Having a ledger makes sense, but there's flaws for security. How can we make sure that nobody spends our money? We spend our own money, and how can we make sure that everything adds up together? So in the upcoming lectures, we're going to start seeing how through digital signatures we can fix some of these issues, and how through hashing functions and through miners we can make all of this work to create the blockchain.